Just wrapped up 7 miles in the foothills here, my local trails, but I've got to swap shoes. I just reviewed the Speedgoat 7, and now I've got to get in the Merrell Agility Peak 6. All right, so I just swapped shoes. I'm gonna go out for another 7-mile lollipop loop. So I just reviewed the Hoka Speedgoat 7. It's interesting to run in one shoe and then another shoe back to back. I'll tell you, the Merrell feels a little lighter underfoot, a little less cumbersome, but not quite as lively. So I'll get into that on this review. Of course, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. Consider joining the channel membership, only $1 a month. But on this video, I'm going to be talking about the specs and features of the Agility Peak 6, the build quality and comfort, the performance, my experience in the shoe, and the value. So voiceover Chad, why don't you talk about some of the specs and features, and I'm gonna go run up to the top of that ridge over there. Merrell states, built to deliver a smooth, responsive ride on technical terrain, the Agility Peak 6 helps runners of all levels stay confident, stable, and connected over technical terrain. Distraction-free by design, this trail runner fuels your focus. As for some of those specs and features, you get an engineered mesh upper with TPU overlays for added protection and durability, a mesh collar and fully gusseted tongue, Gator compatible, Float Pro foam midsole, which has been updated from version 5, a 4-foot rock plate, Vibram Mega Grip with traction lug rubber outsole with 5mm lugs, 38mm of heel stack, 30mm of toe stack for that 8mm drop, weighing in at only 265 grams or 9.34 ounces in a men's size, and a US MSRP of $160. I should also state that Merrell did send me these shoes for the purpose of review, but all thoughts and opinions are strictly my own. Chad, back over to you on the trails. Have a good one. Fun way to explore the trails. Awesome. I've only been horseback riding once with the family. It was neat. It was a good experience. Kind of fun. Oh, it's all good. Thank you. Whew. Always got to come back for the camera. All right, this is such a wonderful area. I love coming out here. You got the views to the east, looking towards the west. You've got some beautiful mountains out there. Running out in my typical stomping grounds. Love running on this ridgeline here. It's so cool and such a neat area. Never take it for granted. Okay, enough about the trail in the area. Let's talk about the Merrell Agility Peak 6. This is a shoe that I've been looking forward to reviewing, to running in. Oh, I got something in my eye. The Agility Peak 5 was a shoe that I deemed overlooked and outstanding. I really enjoyed that shoe and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it so much. The Agility Peak 6, I think, is not an overlooked shoe. It's getting quite a lot of, publicity. Shoe reviewers out there are talking about this shoe, and for good reason. And I'm happy to finally get my feet in a pair and share my thoughts and experience with you. Talking about the overall build quality and comfort, Merrell makes great shoes. They know how to make great shoes. One of the things that I appreciate about the Agility Peak 6 that Merrell did with the shoe is they didn't overcomplicate anything. They kept it simple, but made a shoe that's great on technical trails. The upper is a engineered mesh upper, very durable, very lightweight, and it wraps around your foot in a nice snug fashion. Not too tight, but snug. That offers good confidence, especially on technical terrain. My foot is just held nicely. It's not moving around in the shoe at all. I really like the fit of this shoe. There's not a ton of padding in the heel or the tongue, but there's sufficient. And I don't feel the laces across the top of my foot either. The tongue is also fully gusseted, so not only gusseted on the sides, but also all the way up into the toe box. In fact, it's gusseted to a whole liner that lines the inside of the shoe. That adds to comfort, takes away from breathability just a little bit, although the shoe still feels surprisingly very breathable. Honestly, I just really like how the upper just feels secure, like everything really came together and just stays wrapped around your foot exactly in place. Which is really nice when you're on very uneven, much more technical terrain. So Merrell did a great job there. I really like that. So build quality of the upper and comfort of the upper is going to get a thumbs up. The build quality of that midsole I think is going to last a very long time, although I do wish that it was a little bit softer. I'll talk about that in performance here in a moment. It's not uncomfortable, but I do wish the shoe felt just a little softer underfoot. Now, when it comes to technical terrain, maybe you don't want a super soft, plush midsole. You want something that's gonna offer a little bit more stability on the rocks. And then moving down to that outsole rubber, the Vibram Mega Grip rubber with those 6mm traction lugs, those little tiny micro lugs that are on the 6mm lugs. Yeah, that's a great, outstanding outsole. Vibram knows what they're doing, no exception here. I do feel that the rubber is a little harder, just not as soft of a rubber compared to some other Vibram Mega Grip outsoles, but I do think it's gonna last a bit longer in this shoe, and I don't feel that you're compromising when it comes to that grip in exchange for a little more durability. So overall package of build quality gets a thumbs up from me. Comfort also gets a thumbs up. The upper makes up for a lot. I do wish that the midsole was a little bit softer, but otherwise it's fine and not uncomfortable. I also went true to size, my typical 9.5, and I feel that that is a good choice to go with. You don't need to size up or down in this shoe. One thing that is noticed, however, so the shoe fits pretty sporty or narrow. I like that. It feels very secure over the top and around the sides of my foot. Already alluded to that, but the toe box doesn't give you a lot of room. I do feel, however, in this area, I feel my big toe just kissing the end of, or the side of the shoe here, and my little pinky toe right here as well, just again touching the end. Otherwise it's not uncomfortable, it's just simply noticed, but there is a good length in the end of the shoe there for the downhill, which is really appreciated. And you can see that you get some great overlays and a pretty stout toe protect there to help prevent against kicking on rocks and such that you may accidentally do, inevitably will do eventually. It fits a lot like a Solomon. It fits maybe similar to the Agility Peak 5 from what I can remember, although I do seem to recall having just a little bit more room in the toe box, but I think it's otherwise very, very similar. All right, I just came off the ridge behind me. I'm gonna go make my way over to the V right there in the hillside and do a little loop, and then I'll talk about the performance of the Agility Peak 6. Now moving on to the performance of the Agility Peak 6. I would describe this shoe as a lightweight technical runner. It is a shoe that works great on more technical terrain because you've got those 6mm lugs. Grip is pretty outstanding in this shoe, especially when things start to get a little more gnarly. You also have a rock protect kind of a plastic plate in the forefoot, and that definitely helps protect your foot, although it also disconnects you slightly from the underfoot feeling. Not a problem, but in some cases, being a more technical trail running shoe, you do want to feel what's going on underfoot, and I just don't quite get that sensation. Moving up into that midsole, this is a medium to high stack midsole. It offers lots of protection, some good responsive feeling, but not quite the cushioning or the amount of softness that I would hope. And I'm okay with that. This shoe works well for your everyday trail runs, although I don't know that I would use this shoe for an ultra because the underfoot feeling just isn't as plush as I would want. Maybe I've been spoiled with all the latest and greatest super critical foams out there. But yeah, I just felt like the Agility Peak 5, the previous version, had a little bit softer and bouncier of a midsole. And I know they updated it probably to make it more resilient and better for technical runs, especially when things get very uneven and precarious. I do feel stable, locked in, and secure in the shoe without added bulk underfoot. But again, I wish that midsole was just a little softer, a little more bouncy. And then moving up to the upper, I already mentioned it and alluded to it. It's very secure, very lightweight. I love the upper actually in this shoe. I do wish that there was just a little bit more room in the toe box, but otherwise no room to complain. I do like the feeling in the midfoot and around the heel and across the top of my foot. You also have a place to tuck away the laces so they're not gonna get in the way. Don't feel the laces across the top of my foot despite the tongue not having a ton of padding, because the shoe doesn't distract you with any unnecessary flares or bulkiness or features. It allows me to just concentrate on the run. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Agility Peak 6. Is it a shoe you're eyeing? Are you thinking about getting it? Or is there a different shoe that you are considering? There are a couple other shoes in the same price range. And so yeah, so let's maybe talk about value and compare it to a couple other shoes. Now this is the part in the trail where I typically veer off and continue on down this way and up on the foothills there, doing my typical 11-ish mile loop. I'm really enjoying myself out here. It's a beautiful day. It was a little chilly earlier, but now that the sun is out, it's really nice out here. I'm really enjoying myself. Okay, enough lollygagging. So moving on to the value of the Agility Peak 6. $160 US MSRP. I think that is a competitive price, but $160 is starting to get up there in that price point. I remember the day when, makes me sound old, I remember when $160 would buy you a pretty premium shoe, and it seems that that price range, $150 to $170, is becoming all too normal. Not sure how I feel about that. $160 though is competitive in this shoe. You're getting really good build quality. If I didn't say it earlier, build quality definitely gets a thumbs up for me. great build quality, well thought out design that's not overcomplicated anywhere. Comparing it to a couple other shoes, the Hoka Speedgoat 7, review now on the channel for that shoe as well. That one coming in at $165. I enjoy the liveliness, underfoot experience in the Hoka Speedgoat 7 more, but I appreciate the upper and the overall feeling of the upper in the Merrell Agility Peak 6 more. I wish I could have the midsole of the Speedgoat 7 with the upper and the fit of the Agility Peak 6. That would be amazing. But what other shoe would you compare it to? Maybe the $150 Salomon Genesis. You got the Genesis 2 coming out in July in a few months. I'll be reviewing that shoe. Maybe the Adidas Terrex Gravic 4, $160 for that shoe, which I will also be reviewing on the channel. So I guess there you have it. I always feel like I'm forgetting something. Value, I would say, gets mostly a thumbs up, kind of a sideways thumbs up from me. The shoe is geared more towards technical trails, making it not quite as universal of a shoe as I would maybe like. I'll let you be the judge. Do you think it's worth it? Or is there a different shoe that you would choose for that same price point? Let me know. Drop a comment down below. All right, I'm gonna make my way up to the top of the ridge over there. Then we'll make our way back down and to the car. This has been a lot of fun. Really enjoying the weather, the trails, just wonderful. If you made it this far into the video and you're not subscribed, I think you and I both know what you need to do. Got a lot more content coming to the channel. A lot of shoe and gear reviews, more run ventures, some races, including a 100-mile race. Let's finish up the run, get up to the top of that ridge, and then we'll conclude this review video. Oh, so much fun to come out here. So grateful for this. Got a couple miles left. Finish up this 7-mile loop, or 14 miles for the day. I appreciate you joining me today. Check out this view. All right, remember to be consistent, express gratitude, and enjoy every mile, as I have certainly in the Merrell Agility Peak 6. Alrighty, I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.